How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about U.S. House Rep Eric Swalwell getting wrapped up with a Chinese spy by the name of Christine Fong, aka Fong Fong. Now, this story has blown up all over the internets. It's on mainstream media, left and the right, surprisingly. But I think they're kind of scratching the surface. They're not really getting down to the core of what's happening. They're not giving you all the details. And I've done my own independent research. I've done a lot of research on Eric Swalwell, Fong Fong, Chinese spies in general. So I'm here today to give you the full spiel just so you understand the severity of the situation and also why Eric Swalwell should not be on the House Intelligence Committee. But before I go down that rabbit hole, I got to back up a little bit here to explain to you what's going on, to give you some context, just so we're on the same page with each other. Now, Eric Swalwell, he's 40 years old, and he's relatively new guy in Congress. If you're looking at people like Nancy Pelosi, been there 1,000 years, he's been there since 2013. So kind of a veteran, but not really. He's not been there for a very long time. And when he got put on the House Intel Committee, he was a freshman in Congress. Not sure how that happened, but for now, I digress. Before he was in the U.S. House, he was a city council member of Dublin, California, which is in the Bay Area. And I think that his district is in the Bay Area right now that he serves. So when he was running back in 2013, 2014, or before that, probably like 2012, he ran into a young lady by the name of Christine Fong. Now, Christine, quote unquote Christine, Fong Fong, is a Chinese national that came from China to go to college in United States. Now, she is in her late 30s to early 40s right now. So if she came to the U.S. in 2011 to be a college student, do a little bit of math. She was in her early 30s as a college student on campus. Kind of odd. You know, it's not odd to be 30 years old in college, really. But by that time, you probably got a job and a family or something going on with yourself to where you can't be on campus. But she was on campus and really active on campus. Okay. She was the president of the Chinese American Association, the Pacific Islander Asian. Like, she was super active on campus activities, and she will also be very active in the local political scene. Her mission, which has been found out later, was to be friendly with a lot of all the politicos in the area, find out everything about them, find out their patterns and their routine, their behavior, rumors about them, everything. She was everywhere. She was most certainly on the mission. And the thing about China, they don't really care about using their people to get what they want from them. They don't care. They have them do pretty much whatever. Ain't no such thing as human trafficking. I mean, they could do whatever they want, all right? Now, Fong Fong was using every tool in the toolbox to spy. That's what she was. You know, they say that she's part of this quote unquote secretive organization. It's like a spy ministry over in China. And she was sent over here for that purpose, just to be a spy to gain intel on up and coming Democrats. No Republicans are targeted. They could be targeted by Chinese spies, of course. Anybody can, but that was not her mission. Her mission was to target up and coming Democrats before they got to a national stage. And that was Eric Swalwell, because he was in the city council and then he was running. Here comes Fong Fong. She's helping them out with donors, you know, getting big money donors in his face. And she even gave him an intern who was or is in Eric Swalwell's office. And she did a lot. She was at events with him, smiling and everything else. And it was rumored that Swalwell and Fong Fong had a romantic relationship. Now, of course, he won't answer that question. Did you guys have a romantic relationship? Were you doing adult things with each other? He's not going to answer that. However, the FBI say that Fong Fong had adult relationships, figure it out, you know what I'm talking about, with at least two politicians in the Midwest. One was an Ohio mayor. They got caught in their car having an adult relationship. That was caught on FBI surveillance tape. I'm not sure if they were surveilling him or her, what was going on, but that was caught on videotape. And then there was another older Midwestern mayor of an obscure city, and she was at a conference with him in 2014, and the guy was describing her as his girlfriend. There was a crazy age difference. Obviously, you're talking about an old man of a random podunk town, and here she is like 30, 35 years old or whatever, talking about, oh, this is my girlfriend. This is the real deal. Age ain't nothing but a number, all this, that, and the third. So she is a classic honeypot, all right? You have a woman that's using her feminine wiles and manipulation and all kind of stuff to gain interest, to gain influence, to gain information of up and coming politicos and or established politicos. Now, people may try to debunk the story by saying Eric Swalwell did not give her any classified information and nobody else did. But see, spying is not even always about that. Sometimes spying is a little bit deeper than what you may think. In the case of a Fong Fong, her thing might just be to gain influence, to know a little bit about you, to get you in a compromised situation. Look at it like this. What if the Ohio mayor was married with kids and then they have, they're doing whatever they're doing in the car, and she has a whole camera set up in the car and is recording it. And she says, you know what? Okay, I want you to do X, Y, and Z for me. I want you to try to pass X, Y, and Z law ordinance. And if you don't, well, I got these pictures. I got this videotape. I'm going to send it to your wife. I'm going to put it in the paper and publish it. I'm going to put it on the internet. Now that's called blackmail. That goes on a lot. The Chinese try to get you in a compromised position to where they have leverage over you to get you to do whatever they want. That's generally how that goes. It's not so much about trying to gain state secrets. I mean, they get that too. There was another spy that gained some state secrets. I did a video about that a few years back. It was a guy in the military. I forget his exact role, but if you guys remember that story, let me know in the comments. But he was in the military, and she was able to gain some sensitive information from him. Okay? And imagine how many other guys are caught up with Chinese spies. Not only in politics, but how about business? You got all kind of proprietary information being stolen, all of that going on by these Chinese honeypot spies or whatever. They have no problem sleeping with somebody, lying, cheating, They have no problem with that at all. It's all part of their mission. They're there doing a job. They're part of the military, basically, of the Chinese Communist Party. That's what's going on. Now, the FBI noticed how close Fong Fong and Eric Swalwell were getting. Okay, they noticed that. That's why they intervened and gave him a briefing. After the briefing, he says, it was called a defensive briefing. After the quote-unquote defensive briefing, Eric Swalwell says he cut off all ties with Fong Fong. And that was back in 2015. And we've not heard about that until right now. I think they were very close, and she got a ton of information on him. Patterns, behavior, pictures, all of that. And she may be able to use that as leverage. Now, it's interesting how he was able, speaking about Eric Swalwell, he was able to get an FBI defensive briefing, but not so much for the Trump campaign. Okay, the FBI got the FISA warrant and spied on the Trump campaign. Okay, that's what sparked the whole Russia collusion kerfuffle and then the Ukraine thing. So it's interesting how you get treated on one side versus the other. And then Swalwell came out and said, oh, it's Trump's fault that the information came out because we were looking into him. That's hypocritical of him to say that and to do what he did, because he was caught up with a Chinese spy and probably is still compromised, but at the same time talking about Russia on the other side. There's no evidence of Russia on the other side, but there is evidence of China on his side. The FBI had to actually intervene and say, hey, you need to drop her, leave her alone, cut off all ties right now because she's a whole spy and you are going to be compromised. But after the whole Chinese spy kerfuffle, he was named to the House Intel Committee. How does that make any sense? If you can't even keep a Chinese honeypot off your back, how are you going to be in the room with sensitive information to the point where you can't have a watch on in the room, you can't have your phone with you because these details cannot get out to the public at all. So you're hearing all this stuff in the room. Why would anybody think you're not going back to Fong Fong and telling whatever you know? Pillow talking. Okay, why wouldn't anybody think that? It most certainly can happen. We've seen it before. This is not an abnormal thing. Other female spies have come in and seduced some of these morons into doing whatever they want them to do. You know, you could bring down the whole nation like that. So aside from what he did not being illegal, really, just by being affiliated with her, is most certainly a security risk. I would not trust somebody that has that kind of background with state secrets. Are you dumb? Are you silly? You know, you probably didn't fell head over heels in love with this lady. You probably tried to marry her. You could have been married to her. I'm gonna trust you with state secrets, with a whole Chinese spy in your background. Your dad and your brother still follow on Facebook, which means they had probably been around her. You probably brought her to your house talking about, this is my girlfriend, could be my wife or whatever. Come on, be for real. This is crazy, but the Democrats, they could do whatever they want. And apparently Nancy Pelosi knew about it. The Speaker of the House, she knew about it. Other House reps, they knew about the whole Chinese spy kerfuffle. So if they knew about it, why would they put him on the House Intelligence Committee? Why would you put that guy right there? I mean, out of everybody in the House, I might want to pick somebody that does not have this big stain in the background. But then again, you never know how, widespread the Chinese spying is. Maybe everybody's being spied on. Who knows? Maybe the Chinese Communist Party have they could be part of the swamp as well. They could be the auxiliary swamp. And as a matter of fact, I think the trail got hot for Fong Fong when the FBI were looking at a different spy in the same area. Like I said before, a lot of them are going to be trying to spy politically, but they could be spying in other ways. They could be going to, the buildings, taking pictures and knocking on things to check density. A lot of that goes on. You got certain security officers and guards to look out for that type of stuff. All right. So this is a pretty big issue, a pretty deep issue. Eric Swalwell won't be the first. He's not the first, obviously. Probably won't be the last. There's probably some guys right now laid up in the bed with a Chinese lady who's really 45 years old, telling him she's 38 years old and he loves her. They're going to get married, all this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, she got on the whole wire and everything they say gets sent right back to the Chinese Communist Party. If that's going on, I would not in the least bit be surprised. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think Eric Swalwell is compromised by the Chinese Communist Party because of the Chinese spy? And that's your viewpoint. Let me know why in the comments below. Or is he not compromised? Is it a conspiracy theory? Is it a QAnon? People like Nancy Pelosi talking about, oh, well, QAnon, they're the biggest threat, not really China, all this. Come on. I think we all know that China is a serious threat. And if you got a guy that's compromised like Eric Swalwell may be, then they got to go. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.